Hey everybody! I can see quite a few of you in chat already. My name is Blake. I am the Communications and Marketing Specialist for Ironwood Studios, the developers behind Pacific Drive. This is our very first community live stream. We hope to do a few of these, but sitting with me today is none other than our creative director, Cassandra Dracott.
Hi, how's it going?
We have some like rough plans for today. We want to go on a drive. We want to talk about the game, maybe answer a few questions, hang out a little bit. But if you guys can hear us, if everything's not broken or exploding or on fire, feel free to drop a thumbs up in chat or like a +1 or whatever. But we're gonna roll right into it.
Yeah, that's the plan. And I think we're definitely gonna be starting with the very beginning of the game, and I'm gonna get completely sidetracked and ramble about a bunch of miscellaneous details. So that's gonna happen for sure. But we can just get going, I think.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Honestly, the beginning of the game is so much fun, and I've played it so many times. You'd think I'd be sick of it, but I'm good.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'll be stopping a lot with miscellaneous tidbits, but if folks have questions, I think ask away, and we'll see it pop up on our side, and hopefully have a chance to answer a few of them. I'm gonna go ahead and just get the ball rolling. Yeah, we'll just go.
Wait, you're not gonna start our very first stream with Iron Wagon?
No, I'm not. I don't want to restart our very first stream when I die in radiation. But yeah, so I'm just gonna start rambling with weird facts and info about the game. Actually, these opening text on screen cutscenes were a carryover from some of our earliest prototypes where we were setting out builds to different people, and we just needed a fast way to set up just information about the world and the setting, and so we had a very not as polished version of very much this, just shots of the forest with text and weird music. Originally though, it was in the garage map because that's where our build just loaded into. And then that ended up staying in the original map files for the garage for a really long time, until we eventually got around to finishing up the intro and getting that all set up. But the intro is something I was really passionate about. Catch a little fairy there in the background.
See, it's going away.
There it goes.
Fading into the fog.
Lots of fairies in the northwest. I really wanted to make sure that we had this very slow and tonally correct setup for the start of the game. And I do have control of the camera now. There's, even before I start driving, there's just a ton of really fun stuff. So I'm actually gonna stop and switch to photo mode.
Oh my god. We're showing, okay.
Yeah, the well and famous
the box on wheels. This is it. This is what everybody wanted to see today.
Yeah, so this came about because we needed another car, but we knew you're never going to see this car from the outside, and so Jacob, our foreground artist, got a very quick and efficient setup of a car that we were able to go and decorate. Chronologically, this is set. The 90s. It's a more modern car than the station wagon that you do find. But there's just a ton of little tidbits all over this car, from the fact that this little radio texture here was a carryover from the first ever prototype that was made. Had this texture on the radio screen. This is one of our marketing screenshots merged with our main menu to look like a travel guide, which is what the main menu is meant to look like, so that's really fun. JS Express for Jacob Stone, who's our lead foreground artist, and then all this handwriting is actually mine, which is why it's so terrible. I'm sorry. All of this fake little stylized text too is we actually have a font that we used because we just wanted to create the illusion of text, and so somewhere in a Photoshop file is all of that. But if we go outside the car, there's you can see there really isn't much here. The fairy that we saw earlier is, I actually think if you were to fly long enough, you may be able to find it, but it is behind one of these mountains, just kind of waiting. We just snapped it to a location, but there's a lighthouse there, and yeah, you create the content for the illusion that you want to have, and this being a very scripted specific start, didn't need too much. But I'm gonna go ahead and get rolling. We'll start some early tutorials. And that was the other thing that was nice about this drive, is it lets people get used to like early interaction, you know, playing with the wiper blades. Oh, there's weather that's dynamic. And just gives you a chance to start seeing the game. I do want to talk, you know, no personal bias here, but I'd love to talk a lot about the forest in the game, but I'm going to hold off on that till we're at a good spot to talk, because there is...
Until we've moved further than like 50 feet into the game?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that'd be great.
Yeah, this was a drive that our level designer set up. Just a very, very quick, casual one that, you know, we were then able to go in and art out to kind of capture the mood of like, all right, this is forest and a road. Like, it's a, you know, relatively known experience. Rain starts to pick up. Tell people about the wiper blades. But around this corner, you get the first shot of the wall, and that was something that was really important, was just showing off the scale of the zone and the size of the environment that the whole world is set in. Go over here, and again, I'm going to go to photo mode, and we're going to be doing this a few times.
Hey, I have no complaints. We've made some progress through Kendall's like opening drive. Like
we've made some baby steps, but but yeah. So this wall, you know, this is the outer wall of the zone, and I'm just capturing that sense of scale was something that was so important to me, and I think it's a core part of just the Northwest in general, right? Is that you are just this small individual person in the grandiose mountains, right? It makes you reflect on the rest of your life, and that was something that's always been important to me, because it marries through with the weirdness of the zone, where you see a little bit of weirdness in the game and in the world, and you get a chance to, like, you know, reflect and maybe think about what your next drive in the woods is like. And so there's I think a lot of like mirrored self-reflection that has happened with these kind of games. I do appreciate that it is raining and you can still see the sun. That is very much a Pacific Northwest standard. We get rain all times of year, and sometimes it makes no sense.
I love the very P&W approach of like, I have wipers. I'm not going to use them.
Yeah.
But they're nice to have. You are correct, King of Cats. The wall does seem really massive, and that's on purpose, right?
Yeah, and actually, here we'll do a quick stop, back to photo mode.
I'm sorry. Can I just pause really quickly and say that you would make an excellent like tour guide?
Please stop. Look at this thing.
Yeah, if we had one of those buses that had like the open deck up top, we just gave you one of those little like chin mics.
Yeah,
I'd be like, all right, look to your left, look to your right.
But no, you can actually see like the footprint of the wall and just like the massive scale of, you know, the little harbor that the ferry docked at, and the little road trip that we kind of mapped out with an ominous stay on the roads. But that's enough of that. Let's keep driving.
You've driven a U-Haul, right?
I actually never have.
Really? Okay. No. So something that got added to this intro van that I love is the little warning labels that are on the dash. And if anybody out there has driven a U-Haul or like a rental truck from Home Depot or Lowe's or something, those are everywhere, and they say the most obvious stuff.
Oh yeah, like don't drive it while you're sleeping or drunk. Like,
yeah.
No, we made sure to capture the little things.
This truck is 15 feet tall. Please don't go under any 13-foot bridges.
Right.
That kind of thing.
So yeah, we pull up on the wall, and we get a bit of a detour. Little warnings about the facilities, and maybe one day back 20 years ago this was a main entrance into the zone, but since then it's all been closed up. Fun fact: the other side of that fence is a tunnel, and that tunnel is one of the opening shots in that first cinematic. We're using this forest as much as possible.
So we just buried a camera back there, and we're like,
very much so.
Check it out.
But yeah, now we're forced off on a little dirt road, get to see our functioning suspension in action, and we start to see some weird things that, they seem to not like the car, they go away. Some weird floating rocks, and there's some stuff, I think, barely over the wall too, you can catch that. Did have to make a special little shader for certain lights in the fog so that they're always visible in the fog.
That's my favorite little detail. is when you're driving along here when
Oh,
the light bulbs like overcharge and burst.
Yeah, they blow out the little lights.
Yeah, that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, and you know, A Shell in the Pit worked on all the audio of the game. They absolutely killed it.
Not just the audio, but Gord from A Shell in the Pit.
Yeah, he wrote the song that was playing at the
Ghost
start,
on the
yeah.
Road, which so many people love.
So here we go. It's time to actually have something. So we were trying to like preclude that, like, oh wow, you know, this car electricity, something around these anomalies is triggering things, and sure enough, you pop an anomaly bubble and get sucked on through.
To the other side.
Very much so.
That's such a good song.
Yeah, if only music licensing budgets were infinite. Beyonce in the zone.
All the single ladies, like just as you wake up,
Yeah, no.
and everything's irradiated.
Definitely wouldn't quite have fit the vibe. But yeah, here we are. We've woken up. Get a nice, you know, shot of the other side of the wall. It's on the other side of the screen, which is how you know it's on the other side. Classic, you know, cinematography lesson.
The cinnamon topography, I
topography,
believe is the
yes,
correct
yes,
terminology.
yes.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
Mm.
And it looks like, you know, some stuff has happened to my car. We're near some nasty radiation. Radiation is an interesting one. You know, it doesn't really look like anything just in real life, and, you know, it needed to look like something in the game. And it was one of the things that we iterated on just an absolute ton. There must have been like 7 or 8 versions of what radiation looked like, 'cause it's got to look good at night, in the fog, in the day, at different levels of intensity. You've got to understand where the borders are. There's screen feedback, audio feedback, there's other forms of feedback. But no, yeah, I don't think our little starting van is going to make it. We're going to just leave it in the woods.
You mean the thing that disintegrated isn't gonna make it?
Yeah, you know, you're a capable technician, but you can't build a car from that.
Ed Saber, thank you so much for the compliments on the sound design. It was we were just talking about them, but it's a company called A Shell in the Pit. They're wonderful.
Yeah, they work with a bunch of, you know, other really talented indie studios. They're amazing.
Yeah, they've worked on a bunch of stuff that like you wouldn't. Honestly, looking at their like catalog of things, their credits, I was just like, oh, I worked on that too.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea.
Yeah, the kick is a fun thing. You know, we put it in the game. It's you know, it's a physics nudge, right? It breaks these crashables. I think initially it was like a push or a shove, and I can't remember why we changed it, but we do have it, and then once things break, they become physics objects. But it does let you go and kick down trees and just generally cause havoc in the zone. So I'm gonna get our wheel on.
Gotta have 4 wheels, man.
All right, and actually, you know, one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on subtitles.
Yeah, yeah. Big boy Joshy, you've been dropping some like great questions. I want to make sure that they don't get lost. Reacting to the world record speed run of the game, I think would be super fun. I am definitely stealing that idea and putting it in my notes.
Yeah,
I would love to pack the room with some people that can see what's going on and react to it.
I think that would go over very well.
Goldie, please don't kick the car when you're trying to open the trunk. It's doing its best.
There we go. There's some Tobias.
Also, Joshy, if you want to learn more about the atmosphere and game design, you are in the right stream. That is what we are all talking about. Noah, no, a movie is not being made, but we are working with a company called Atomic Monster and James Wan to develop the show for television. And I think that's all we can talk about.
Yeah, we have partnered with Atomic Monster. That's the end of that for the time being. But we're really excited, and only getting more excited every day. So that's very fun. So we're introduced to Tobias and Francis, 2 of the 3 main cast of the game. I'm probably not going to spend too much time talking through narrative because I am focusing on both talking and playing and thinking of interesting things to try to talk about. But you know, it, I wish I had enough time to just shout love to all the voice actors and everyone that worked on the story and the narrative. Like it's a major part of why I think the game works so well is giving context to the people that are still in the zone and why are they here and what are they like and now we've run out of gas.
Yeah, why didn't you fill up before you left? Like,
there was no gas.
oh, interesting.
I grabbed my little fuel can. The car has so conveniently provided, so we gotta go and siphon. There we go. Yeah.
Powering your computer. Have you ever played this game before? Nope. First time.
Definitely only played it once. No, if anything, I have not played on the controller in a couple weeks, and I do my fair share of bouncing around.
A couple weeks. That's terrible.
I know. I will say though, I do love the DualSense for all the different haptic.
Oh,
that we
the
added.
haptics are so cool. I'm gonna steal your commentary thunder here for a minute, but like the brake pressure, like haptic that we use on the DualSense is so good. Like jamming on it as it's actively fighting you when you're rolling downhill.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we got it in. I think we had a very early version in, and we put in a more advanced version as development went alongside. But I think it's like with infinite time, you could just keep adding these little touches all over the place, and it would just be incredible. I do think, by the way, Blake, I think my audio is not in my headphones.
Oh, I'll mess with it.
Just as a heads up.
Nate, as far as fan art or work regarding the game and characters, love it.
Yes.
Share it around the office. Like we try to see as much of it as possible. I actually personally will post fan art that I see on any platform to the whole team. So good.
Yeah, it's been just honestly still every time just mind blowing. I don't really have words for just exactly how it makes us feel, but it's like we're so glad folks love the game and I don't know, the way I see it is you make a thing and you put it out there and people are then able to play with it on their own, and I don't know, any bit of art like that just continues to add new life in. So we have made it to the garage. We'll get that thing off the trunk. And there goes one of our tires. It's one of my favorite moments from the opening.
I love that you didn't even attempt to brake. You were just like, nah, it's going into the building.
We hit the garbage can or garbage bag. There we go. Don't kick the car. And we gotta find our way into our building and get some power turned on. And, start setting up in Oppy's shop.
The shoppy, if you will.
Nope, we don't. No one calls it that.
No, literally no one does.
Nope.
I don't know why
absolutely
I said that.
Not. So there is just so much detail and love and attention put into the garage. It's also, being the most visited map in the game, it's a thing that we just constantly iterating on what stations went where, but there was a garage, it had a slanted roof from, I think, one of the earliest days in the garage, or when the garage existed, and what rooms were there and how they changed, and what details we added, what spaces we kept clear for stations that you can install later. All of that was a course of iteration, which is just that's the name of the game when it comes to game development. But yeah, I'm trying to think of like little key details that I want to call out while also still making progress through the tutorial. Yeah, we had, I think at one point the garage was significantly smaller. I think it very early on, it may have just been these two rooms, and then we pushed it out and expanded and added back rooms and functionality that existed outside in the back. Little touch that the back shed here is closed at the time, opens up later, but it's time to get the wheel back on the car and Everything going.
Please add the ability to steal from the register. There's no money. There's no money in the zone. I don't know why you would want to rob the poor, helpless gas stations. That
You're morally a better character than that, I guess.
Yeah.
That's character building. I think there's a couple of cash registers floating around too.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's a good call out, right? Is that we are, we tread this water into immersive sim territory with all these different tools and all these different ways that you can interact. But if you look at this car, it's covered in buttons and knobs and dials, and there's window controls and the ability to lock the car and change the mirror angle. And it's something that, like, we thought a lot about, like, what is that right level of interaction. And for us, for this game, it felt like it felt appropriate for us to keep things streamlined, and really focus on the things that made the largest impact. And then you mix that with what is accessible. So, for example, I'm playing on a controller. Having the fidelity to go and access all these tiny little buttons and switches and knobs and dials doesn't make as much sense because it would have been extra hard to do while you're driving. And we wanted to make sure that more people had a chance to check everything out. So we're going to go ahead and pin a recipe. I think also, just massive love to all of the work that went into the UI. It is just dripping with style and substance, and just so much information. Go ahead and try to. Oh no, can't get in. So we gotta go and get the thing.
Yeah, you need your pry bar.
Yep. So yeah. Pry open a trunk. All right. And check the favorite, the lucky dumpster, which it's given us.
I'm sorry, the lucky dumpster?
Yeah. So the lucky dumpster was an internal name. It is the friendly dumpster in canon. I'd still have trouble bouncing back around.
Oh no, it's okay. Like I forget how many times we said certain things were other things, and we had to clarify. But no, the friendly dumpster. Yes. Anybody a big fan of the friendly dumpster in chat? I'm throwing that out there. I'm just asking. It's just such a it's a big box with goop in it, and it gives you stuff. Like I don't know what's not to love.
It's got some personality. That was something that came in on the later end. We definitely saw the amount of attention that it was getting, and decided to lean into it. Hence our our cult of the dumpster, little cosmetic pack that we made, stuff like that.
I love the googly eyes on the cosmetic dumpster. Like, it's so good. Yeah, see, everybody says they love the dumpster. The dumpster loves you guys. That's so nice to see. Man.
That can be picked up in the mic.
The vibration is probably not being picked up in the mic now.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get some supplies.
Illuminanimous. I hope I said that right. It was a lot of syllables. Would you consider adding separate keybinds for ignition, stick, and wipers? I'm assuming stick, you mean like shifting. There is already a separate keybind for wipers. And if you're on controller, you can use the D-pad to do the wipers and the headlights. But I think specifically, because we touched on it earlier, the ignition and the shifting, we wanted to keep all in the driver's seat for diegetic reasons.
Yeah, it adds to that chaos, and we do. We have some accessibility options for like easier turning of the ignition, that kind of thing, which is important.
Whoa, that's some high-level menu navigation going on there. Whoa,
it's too much.
Yeah.
All right.
Slow down.
Grab some putty. And yeah.
Oh, Jolt and Cernite. That's a cool idea. Trading for special items. I wonder if have you used the resource? Oh God, now I'm doing it. The exchanger.
Oh yeah. What about
You put in one resource, you get another resource. It's kind of like trading.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, you know, rules of the zone. You take advantage of the stuff that's out there, right? And just try to keep on surviving.
King of Cats. You want to see more about the community located in the zone? Oh, I think everybody does.
Yeah, there is. I think, you know, one of the early lessons that I took when thinking about the zone and the world that we're building, like originally we were making a game where the story was the story of the zone. Like there was a lot more centralized narrative to everything that was going on. But as we you know continued fleshing out the narrative and continued fleshing out the story, like we realized that we actually should have a story in the zone rather than the story in the zone. And the advantage of that is that it means that we have opportunity to build on that in any number of ways, right? Whether it is like additional side text and side narrative, or any other opportunity we can think of, we just have that. We have that as an option. And I'm going to just. Oh, I think I have that.
Sorry, Joshy, I think earlier you asked if we'd heard of the game Outer Wilds. I just got 3 messages from the team that said, absolutely, yes, we love the Outer Wilds. It's a great game. And then Ed Saber, this is actually very poignant to my experience working on cars and in the garage, and also, Cassandra, yours. The vibe of the rain, like hitting the roof of the garage while you're just kind of tooling around, working and tinkering on stuff. It was very, very intentional that we nail that vibe. I think it's the amount of times I've been in the garage just sort of chilling, or I'll get up to make dinner and leave the game running. It's perfect.
Yeah, it is. It really is like a very, very. It's like a meditative thing, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Oh, Joshy, you got some heaters today, man. The addition of closing the garage door, that was actually the very, very first community suggested update to the game. Was putting that little button there so that you could close the garage door and make it a little bit more secure.
Still got our gobbler in there.
This beauty won't just be your tour guide. It's your North Star and the only way back to safety.
That's another dev name. Is the
Oh, sorry, what was the?
it was originally, it was like internally we called that whole thing the gobbler.
Oh right, yeah.
But yeah, this is dev names shining through again.
Well, it's great because the game has been out long enough that if we use internal dev names, then the community will yell at us and tell us the correct names.
There we go. Yeah.
And it's like we never messed up at all.
Just intentionally sharing it all along. Gonna grab a couple blueprints.
Juanacito, I recognize you from the Discord. Hey, buddy. We love the water on windshield effects as well. I think that the rain hitting the glass in front of you. There's no real way to feel temperature in a game, like unless you're wearing one of those cool what's it called, Kickstarter liquid cooling vest things. But every time that happens to me in game and it's like dark and foggy, I get a little chill. I get a little like, ooh, wow.
Yeah, it's so I drive an old station wagon around sometimes, and it leaks, and I'm glad the one in the game does not leak. And I do need to fix that leak. That is on my outside of work thing to do. I genuinely love the whole like charging your car with a giant science lever.
Yeah,
it's like such a great moment.
Well, it's very Ghostbusters.
It's Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's Frankenstein. There is just a lot to love. All right, so we've gone on, picked our plan. We're heading out into the zone. Yeah, I mean.
Oh wait, hold on. Sorry. You forgot to put the gas pump back.
Oh, I was curious if someone was gonna say something, and I think yeah. So we're gonna. I could.
You stinker.
I legitimately don't think I could sleep with myself.
That's so funny. Thank you, Braden. We appreciate the reminder.
Keep your garage clean and tidy. This is the problem. So my personal save, which I do have one. I do have one at home, and my storage approach is. I'll demonstrate it. I just That's
Just throw it and go find it
if
later.
it's not in the way, or I don't think with confidence that I can drive over it,
Oh
it's
my
not in
God.
my brain, and so I just don't have to worry about it.
I take such a different approach, which is hilarious because like my office is covered in parts and stuff, right? For all the miscellaneous things that I build around the office. But when I play the game, I like organize by layer. I have like a layer of paints and a layer of decals and a layer of scrap.
So
and, like,
you're the methodical.
Yeah, and it's very much opposed to my real life like garage organization. I'm pretty sure that I have 2 individual sets of wheels right now in my garage that are accidentally mixed because I kept picking them up to move them around to like work on stuff. Oh, goodness. Ruben, you are right. It has almost been 1 year since release, which crazy.
Yeah, still.
Yeah.
It has not quite sunken in yet. It's just a yeah, it's been incredible, especially with all the reception of the game and seeing everyone like play it and hop online, and it's been
The stories.
yeah.
The
That is
stories.
still my personal favorite part is story screenshots that tell stories. One thing I did spot that I did want to mention. Let's see. I think there's a problem with this controller.
Oh?
It doesn't want to come in. Okay, well, I guess that will have to wait. So onwards into the rain. Yeah, so I'm very. Oh, there's 2 things actually that worth talking about. So the weather effects. That was one thing. So my background before I started Ironwood, I was in tech art, so I was doing a lot of lighting and VFX work, and getting rain on the windshield that responded correctly to wiper blades was like a must-have. Like I was like, this is not gonna work at all, which is completely bull. And there are a million great car games out there that don't have that. But it felt something that definitely was incredibly important to me personally, because it was part of the part of that tone and part of that mood, which I think that is important to the game. The other thing I wanted to mention is this little interaction down here. So yeah, this was a really important addition to the game, but not necessarily for the reason that you think. When you play the game and when you build some kind of relationship with a car, or whether it's your favorite computer, or I don't know, whatever like thing that is not a person or like dog or pet or something like that, right? Like it's natural for us to have expressions of emotion, right? Like like kick a door that you stub your finger on or something like that. And with the car, there are a lot of negative things that can happen with the car, right? In terms of like driving it off a cliff and running into anomalies and radiation, and you can even kick it. Kicking it being like the least mechanical or functioning part of the game, other than it is useful to get your car unstuck. But beyond repairing it and taking care of it, there really isn't a lot of ways to express positive sentiment to your car, right? And we don't have hands in the game. We don't have like a first-person model unless it's the tool that you're holding. So there's no way to like reach out and pat it on the hood or just like, yeah, little car, we did the thing. And so we added this thing so you could feed your car snacks.
Yes, that was the hot dog.
Giving it a hot dog.
Yeah.
And to me that's an important touch. But we're gonna continue on. Let's just ramble on way too much about.
Wax poetic about your favorite subject, which is the game that you've made.
I'm also a fan of this.
Just running over stuff.
Yeah.
What a hooligan.
So one of the things that's interesting is that once the game really picks up and you're going out on these runs, there is a lot of freedom and agency and player choice in terms of like what you do and the order in which you do it. There's still like a main story that's progressing, but everything very much up and through this map and a little bit after it is very set up. So like this as your first experience onto this map, this is your layout, this is like the things that we draw attention to. There is still some level of generation that happens in this map, but we wanted to make sure to really set up everybody with a good first experience. So we're gonna go and scan our generator. There we go.
Looks like it's ripe for the picking. Can't get
Craft
at it with your
materials
hands, though.
for
An impact hammer will do the
plastic
trick.
scrapper. You can scrap this thing. it would take a very, very, very long time. So we want the impact hammer. There we go. And that. Not crouch.
Find those materials
Ed says the first time the car used it to wave at me, it made me so happy. Right? I mean, I don't want to assume that everybody's seen Star Wars, but whenever I thought about like my first junk car running for longer than it should have, I always thought of Han like patting the console, being like, hold it together, hold it together, hold it together.
That's spot on. That is the right emotion. So we have gas cylinder, some other bits and bobs. Let's see.
Are we gonna see Bigfoot this stream? I don't know. I don't know.
Believe it or not, I don't have any control over that.
You can't just summon Bigfoot.
I don't have the dev ability to just summon Bigfoot.
Oh man,
on this build.
Actually, sorry, there was a really funny moment with Bigfoot where we were out at PAX and we were showing the game publicly for like the first time. And I think that one of the things that we were really hoping to see from people playing the game, getting their hands on the game, was just their reactions to everything that they could do and all this stuff that was happening. And I think second day that the public had their hands on the game, we saw Bigfoot like 6 times.
It was a lot. It was more than intended, and it really confused people.
Well, it was great because people would turn around and they'd be like, "Who was that? Who is in my game? Who is coming to find me?" And we'd be like, "I don't know. What did it look like?" And they'd be like, "A big shadow person walking across the road in front of me." But I tried to catch up, but by the time I got there, they were gone. And it's like, oh, mysterious.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
I'm actually not going to make this too much.
That is another really easy behavior to slip into, honestly, is to just take everything.
Yeah.
It's all those years of Skyrim.
Yeah, it's that, and it's just so many games that just like absolutely grilled in to get all the stuff. Oh, right. But I actually forgot the thing I was going to do.
Rotox, that's a good point. The gauges and stuff inside the car illuminating on the dashboard, that is a really neat thing. I've always appreciated older cars because they mix like halogen bulbs with plastic pieces, and it makes them look all LED and cool and digital display, but they're actually just like little light bulbs turning on and off behind things.
Absolutely. Yeah, as the certain things cause electrical damage, we like a bit of a small feedback system where different types of damage, different kinds of things can cause different effects. So if I go and just like slam into a tree, you'll see like the main computer screen wiggle a little bit, which is there you go.
I love that I look up, I'm like, oh, what's chat saying? And Noah just goes, buy car, as you ram it into a tree.
It's fine.
It'll live.
It's doing its best.
They sure don't build them like that anymore, I tell you.
No, they do not. Not even a little bit. Oh, man. So it is worth talking. I mean, I can start to talk. There's a million things to say about the anomalies. Like,
ooh, yeah.
Just such a fun. This is one of the. Ironically, it is a remnant, not the lore remnant. It is a remnant from very, very early prototypes. But it is one of the oldest anomalies in its current form. It used to do a couple of different attack moves, but it's I'm a huge fan of just like interesting silhouettes in the fog, and our design team going in and figuring out all of the different ways that we can interact with each other and interact with you, give you things to play with, like the fact that we're spawning these generators near it. You take up a generator, and now now there is no power to this anomaly, and it changes its behavior, changes your way of thinking about it, all the way through to, well, some more mysterious things out in the woods. It really is. Really is just like full of opportunity, I think, for this sandbox.
Yeah, I mean, we've only seen the one so far, too.
Have we only seen one? Yeah, we have.
Yeah, you dodged an abductor earlier, but I didn't call it out because it just kind of did the like whoa, whoa, whoa thing in the background.
No. Okay, whatever.
Oh man, Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, King of Cats asks, what's your favorite and least favorite anomaly?
That is tough.
I'll let you think about it. Let me roll through some of my favorites.
I will ruminate.
Yeah, so I'm gonna echo one of our designers, Richard, here real quick, because he describes the anomalies as his children.
We describe it as his children.
Yeah, but you know, I'm throwing him under the bus a little bit. And I love that we find the abductor I was talking about immediately. Richard's descriptions of the anomaly interactions are almost always like geared towards multiple and all the individual sort of emergent interactions the anomalies can have with one another. My favorite anomaly is probably the Bubblegum Buddies, because they're like little mini annoying abductors, and they come through just at the worst times, and they steal stuff away from you or the car or whatever. Another reason I like them so much is because they have a really, really big, like, I don't know why I see it more often than other anomaly interactions. But the Bubblegum Buddies, in my game at least, have a really high chance of just messing with all the other anomalies. So I watched a gang of them fight an abductor once. I threw a flare. I wanted the abductor to go after it. The Bubblegum Buddies stole the flare and like, took the abductor on like a little chase. I've watched them pick up tourists and like explode stuff. Like they're just mischievous little guys, and like that's just, I don't know. For me, abductors will pick you up and throw you across the map. That sucks. These big Tesla towers, they'll shock you and like throw you around, and that's hard to deal with sometimes. But the Bubblegum Buddies, they're just not like mean. They're just funny, goofy little dudes. Oh, okay. Why are we impact hammering the car? Were you stuck?
No, I had a thought, and the thought left, and I forgot to take my finger off the impact hammer trigger.
You were like, I'm halfway there. I might as well.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, shoot. I think so. I think favorite anomaly for me is gonna have to go to the tourists. Like there's such a cursed combination of different ideas. So really early on, they started off as, I think, literally just a stick with a light on top, and it was the creation of one of our engineers, Scott, and it very much was just like, hey, we were experimenting with different types of interactions for anomalies.
What? How?
Yeah, look at
All
that.
right, you may not be able to summon Bigfoot, but you're pretty damn good at getting the anomalies to show up.
Yeah, so we had the stick, and I think I was
just bullying at this point.
Yeah, I'm teasing it.
Bother.
Well, that was gonna happen. And it was time to go in and art it, and we ended up with mannequins, which I do have to take, or crash test dummies, I should say. I do have to take the fault for that specific artistic call. But then, Richard, with his touch, went in and added some of the more unique behavior that has a chance to happen when you are not looking at them. And so it was a very organic process that did lead us to something that was, in the end, pretty disturbing, although I do like some of the little touches. All right, here we go. There's some physics. I want to detonate these things, and I don't want to take damage, so we're going to see if I can...
Oh, that was a really good shot.
That didn't work. If I die here and we have to restart the level, I'm sorry. No.
No, you're fine. Everything's good. Is there not a... Oh, look, there's a... well, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you could scrap that car, make a junk door, and then throw the junk door at the tourists. But that's a lot of work for some explosions.
Speaking of a lot of work, it's, like all the different buildings that you can enter, all the different layouts, I know there are an absolute ton of them. So our art and our design team work together to figure out, like, just how many of these things we can fit in, how they can sit within the world. Are they placed manually? Did they spawn dynamically? It was a monumental effort, and it's something that I'm still very, very proud of. Is like, it is one thing to go in and generate a world with trees, and that's something that we do a lot. But we, having not just trees, but different areas and weird, sculptures and structures and other stuff in it that you can go into and loot. I think that's, and a good chunk of them not knowing where they will turn up, right? Like I did not know there would be, a cabin around here. That is. It helps to create these little spikes in the flow of like, I'm driving around, I see this thing I'm interested in.
What also helps with the expectations, right? It'd be kind of boring if you knew where everything was all the time.
Oh, absolutely. Like one of the things that we talk about a lot, especially early on in development, was like not wanting to know what's around the corner, and that 100% is yes.
I was like, what do you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I want to throw it, but like that. For us is true as devs because we don't know what's around the corner. I didn't know that these anomalies would be here. I didn't know we'd be in it for some tourists, but...
Braden, I'll tell him in a minute.
There we go. There we go. Look. Little hands.
Little hands and
little
feet
hands
and heads.
Yep. Excellent.
So Braden pointed out a few minutes ago, you could have just thrown a flare.
I could have. I didn't have any flares on me, and I was too lazy to go and get the trunk just for that when I could sacrifice a part of my car. Unless I pick some up.
You did, I think, at one point.
Yeah,
oh,
I think they're in the trunk. I know I was just throwing them around for fun.
Do you ever try to yeah, there we go.
Bob and weave around the
That's one of my favorites, is if I can high speed maneuver around the tourists without blowing up, I always roll out of that situation feeling super cool.
Alright, so we gotta make it to the radio station.
Yeah, hook right.
You can't just kill yourself running into things. It's not safe to do that.
There's so much stuff to just run over and break and mess with. I know this is going to seem kind of crazy for everybody watching who's probably hit hundreds of trees and fences and mailboxes and stuff, but at one point, that was a huge thing that we did to the game, was adding a bunch of crashable stuff.
Yeah, it was originally, because there's stuff like the grass which will fold over as you drive over it, but then the ability to swap in these crashable versions of meshes just really opened up a lot of options. And then as we started to flesh out our systems to decorate the level, whether it is through fences that you can break or barrels and all kinds of different obstructions that appear on the road, it all matters. For the road stuff, it is, if you're just driving straight, it's not inherently fun or interesting. You have to add those little bits of moment to moment changes of pace just to get you to pay attention, do the things slightly differently. It does matter. So we got our little transmitter.
The instability's ticking up by the second. But you can't get back the way you came. The instability makes all routes one way.
I love the way that Oppy explains,
It'll get you back to the garage.
Hey, I know I sent you into this place on this super dangerous maybe mission, but I'm waiting until just now to tell you hey, there's no real way back. You're gonna have to do some sci-fi shenanigans.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh man,
it's perfectly a balance between did she even care and did she even think about it?
I mean, no, generally we've been pretty spoiler free so far, so we'll probably keep that moving forward, but Oppy's sort of not apathetic, because at times she is kind of directly annoyed and frustrated and aggravated with the driver. But the sort of do it or die, I don't care. Great. Ooh, hey, Mad Lad James, congratulations on getting the Lumberjack trophy. That one is always harder to get than you think.
Just need so many trees.
Every tree you see.
So we're gonna go down and grab an anchor. Get the ball rolling on the escape.
Aha, I see what you did there.
Oh, ball rolling. Yes, that was 100% intentional.
Yeah.
I promise.
I'll let Oppy explain it.
Oh, good point.
I was waiting. Oh no, the abductor grabbed the car.
Oh god, saved by the infrastructure of
the power pylon, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. It's just a cheeky little guy. Trying to pull you out of the way of the
messing with my
landscape.
car.
You've got no passenger door.
I don't.
Like, it's gone.
I don't have a passenger, so
I mean, the ARC device is kind of a passenger.
I think I'm the passenger.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good
That's
point.
a fun little effect. You can see like a cross section of the car. All right, take me to the exit. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay, thank you.
So, for anybody that's watching that might not have played the game yet, we've gone through the process of exploring, gathering materials, resources, parts, mission objective items, that kind of stuff. And now the zone is becoming unstable, and we need to drive like hell to the exit.
Where this map closes in.
Yes, which is a big pillar of light in the sky directly in front of us. It's hidden by some trees right now. Oh,
Photo mode.
thankfully we have photo mode.
There we go.
So the way that this was triggered was we picked up the anchor. That's great. We put it inside the ARC device. That's better. But honestly, the thing that causes the storm to move in and really make things difficult for you trying to get back to the garage is when you open a gateway. Opening a gateway basically signals to the zone like, hey, some stuff's going down here. There's stuff happening that you don't want to happen. Time to get out of Dodge. I love that you're attempting this with like 2.5 tires, no hood, no doors. Like your protection is gone. Completely different, like, to how I thought this would go. You're really just sending it.
Yep, pretty much. Might pause the photo op.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, this is gonna be a good one with all the.
Yeah, so I am very stoked about the photo mode. But yeah, so these are the big gateway exits. You can see the storm in the distance closing in. And just every little detail that the team has put in just shines, right? All the little fiddly parts of the car are all oscillating to reflect the instability. And we're back.
We lived. We survived.
We did.
Well. Alive. We're certain if the zone didn't get you, that gateway would.
What? Come on.
Oppy's reactions of like, oh hey, you live. They're so good. All right, time to fix all the damage we caused to ourselves. Yeah, we've got a little bit of work to do.
We definitely do indeed.
Actually, speaking of work to do, we have like real life work to do.
Yeah, what? I actually have no concept of time, so...
Yeah, we got lost in the zone, and we made it back just in time. I hope everybody enjoyed this hour-long stream from us here at the studio. Given that this was so much fun, I think we're going to try and do some stuff like this again in the future. Keep an eye out on our socials, our Discord, etc. for some announcements on when we'll go live. Yeah, I want to thank everybody in chat for hanging out with us and asking questions and just overall enjoying the game and hanging in there for this little experiment that we were doing today. So special shout outs to King of Cats, Big Boy Joshy, Mad Lad James, Noah. Yeah, we'll see everybody next time we do this, and we hope that your next drive is successful.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in, and yeah, I think we'll be definitely doing something like this again. See if I can get a little.
Oh, you nailed it.
Almost.
Good job.
Yep.
Real quick, if you guys haven't joined the Discord, make sure you do, because that is where a lot of this stuff gets talked about in advance. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you, folks.